Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today, in case you can't tell, we're gonna be treating this Shet Matisse. We're gonna be treating the Vachette leather on it, and I'm going to be doing that today with Garde. I've actually seen Shea Whitney do this once before. I have actually tested this out before. I had my previous bag that this one replaced, my Louis Vuitton Maranon that had the Vachette treated, and it looked fabulous. And then this, you can see that piece of leather was treated previously and it looks perfect. And of course this is inside my bag, so it's not gonna be getting in the rain or anything. This was one that I felt comfortable with testing out. If it got screwed up, it was a teeny tiny piece of leather, but I've seen so many people do this, I felt confident. So today we're gonna treat this. And as you can see, I've covered the entire bag in paper towels, and I used painter's tape to cover up all the hardware. I actually still have the plastic on the hardware in here, and then I've covered up everything here. Basically, what you do is I put a towel on the floor because I didn't want to deal with kind of cleaning this up. And you want to be in a well-ventilated area, so we're in my living room, and you want to shake the can, and you want to make sure you follow the directions. So you want to hold the can 6 to 9 inches from the surface and spray with a sweeping motion, including all seams, but do not soak the spray area. Then you let it dry for 30 minutes, and then you repeat. Of course, you can spray this again later. I personally do this for my shoes about once a year. We're gonna go on ahead and spray it. So as you can see, the tape around the Vachette is wet, but the Vachette isn't. So if you spray it and the Vachette is soaking, then you've sprayed it too much. I'm just gonna dab that so it doesn't go dripping down the bag. Probably should have stuffed this before I did this. I just didn't think about it. Probably would have made it a little easier. The biggest thing here is the sweeping motions. So get it nice and coated. Whew, there we go. Now we got it. Wasn't quite sure we were misting enough there. Okay, so I'm gonna let that sit for 30 minutes, and then I'm gonna come back and spray it again. Okay, so the next item I'm gonna treat is my Speedy B25 in Damier Azur. As you can see, I tried to cover it. This one's gonna be a really tricky piece because, as you can see, the angles are really funny. It's got a lot of hardware. I have seen some people do this where they don't cover the hardware. I personally have seen tarnished hardware from just water sitting on it too long. So the main thing that I wanna do here is I'm gonna spray it, and because these buttons are uncovered, I'm actually gonna use water wipes like this, and I'm going to wipe the Garde off the buttons immediately and then dry it, so that since there really isn't a good way to cover those, I mean, maybe I could have gotten crazy with a hole punch, but this is how I'm gonna do it, and that should protect it. Again, I've seen people not get this crazy with hardware, but I just feel better doing it this way. And then I did my best to cover the canvas. So this one, like I said, is gonna be a little bit more of a process. So we're gonna start by spraying this way. Catch the drippage here a little bit. And you'll see that it dries relatively quickly, but you still want to let it sit at least 30 minutes between coats. And I'm just going to get this one more. Okay, and now I'm going to take my water wipe and just get just very tiny. We're going to get that. And then just to be on the safe side, dry this. All right, and now we're gonna let that dry for 30 minutes. And now we're gonna do the straps. So I took the strap apart for the Speedy B25. It does come apart into 3 pieces, and then I pushed, this does move, so I pushed it up to the edge. So I'm gonna kind of spray it and then move that when I spray it. So this one, we're gonna go on ahead and just spray both sides, and then again, let it sit for 30 minutes. So you'll notice as I'm spraying on this, it's a lot easier to see how dark it's getting. And again, I almost sprayed too much there, so you just want to be careful that you're spraying it well, but you're not getting it soaking wet. If you see puddles on your Vachette, the way that you see how it kind of collects over here, but it's absorbing into the Vachette, so that's why you're not you shouldn't see that. But if you're spraying too much for it to absorb, then that's where you're gonna have the issue. Okay, and so again, I'm gonna kind of, like I said, I'm gonna move this just a little bit so that gets good and coated. Okay, so we're gonna flip this over and we're gonna spray again. And if you start seeing little spots, like the sprayer is spraying globs of the product instead of a smooth and even spray, then that's when you know you need to shake the can again so that it keeps dispersing a really even mist. Spray again. Okay. All right, and now we're gonna let this sit for 30 minutes as well. Okay, so it's been 30 minutes and I'm going to spray the second coat on these and then go back and do my Speedy B25 and my Shet Matisse again. So this will be the second coat. This one, I feel like something went wrong here a little bit, but I think it will dry. It's just I did notice an area of oversaturation. So what I did is I oversaturated the area around it and then kind of faded it this way. Basically, I oversaturated it just a little bit. So what I did is I oversaturated a little bit more of that so that it would blend and you wouldn't be able to tell that I did. So we're gonna go on ahead and flip this over once it looks dry enough to where I can comfortably flip it over. Okay, so I'll let that one sit a little longer. I'll go ahead and just flip this one. Flip. Flip. All right, and now I'm gonna go back to my Speedy. Okay, so here's the Speedy again. Now I did go look at a couple other people's videos. And again, people weren't covering the hardware, but actually I went searching around the internet a little bit and I did find on Purse Forum that there was a girl that had a picture of, she had done her Speedy and she had not covered it like the way that I'm doing it, and it made the canvas shiny. I think I did the right thing by covering the canvas. Now she was able to get that off with a wet wipe. So it's definitely like the thing where if something happens and you get it on the canvas, if you just wipe it off with a water wipe like immediately, you should be fine. And that's what she did. It took her, she had to wipe it down twice and then it was fine. But if I can find that post, I'll link that thread down below so you can kind of see what could happen. So that's like something that could go wrong. But again, she wiped down her canvas and it was fine. I don't know if there are any long-term effects to the canvas because of that. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm gonna do my best to keep it covered while I'm doing this, just because it makes me feel better. Okay. And then wipe, 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 wipe. All right, and now we're gonna let this sit for 30 minutes again before I do the rest of the bag. This bag is definitely gonna be difficult to get the rest of it. I actually do plan on doing the piping as well, so we'll get back to this one. Okay, and we're back to the Shet Matisse. And again, like I said, this is brand new, so the plastic is actually still intact on the hardware, but I still covered it anyway, just, you know, to be safe. Did get it on the canvas a little bit there, so I'm gonna get in there, the water wipe. I'm actually gonna get in there before it dries, which is a tip that I heard on the Purse Forum. If you get in there before it dries, then it won't make your canvas shiny. Y'all, I'm probably spraying this a little bit more than is necessary, but I wanna make sure that this bag is protected. I love this bag. I do switch out, but probably not as frequently as I should. And I do have a tendency not to look at weather reports before I leave the house. So hopefully I'll be better with this bag, but we'll see. Actually, while the top of this is still drying, I'm gonna see if I can kind of figure out how to get the sides. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go on ahead, since we're not gonna spray this part anymore, I'm gonna go on ahead and open up the side here where the There's a little bit of vachette right here. Okay, so I just opened up the side. I'm gonna do it kind of the way that I did my Speedy, where I just kind of tape it off as best you can. I'm just gonna tape this one straight down. Kind of use the painter's tape to cover up the canvas. So I got those tabs to where I can go on ahead and spray them, and then again wipe them off like I did, or wipe the hardware off that I wasn't able to cover. So this is going to create a lot more moisture because it's surrounded by tape. I'm going to go on ahead and dab that off again, just so it doesn't run in drops all over. And this side. So the advantage of using painter's tape here is that you can just kind of peel this back. And so I'm actually just going to take this apart sort of as best I can. Kind of put the tape to the side and then just literally flip this to the other side instead of making a whole new paper towel contraption. I can just slip that to the other side. Okay. I think she is ready for her spray. I feel like on these straps, you can see the spray a lot more than you could when I did these. I feel like on these, you couldn't see it quite as easy as you can see it on this. So you can really see how it got dark and then it gets light again, which is really cool the way that it does that, but it really doesn't darken your vachette hardly at all. I couldn't tell the difference when I tested this out on my other bag I had, when I had tested it out on my Maranon and then did the Toiletry 15 at the same time. I could not, I did the Maranon before I did the Toiletry 15 and you couldn't tell the difference. Then I did the Toiletry 15 and again, it was still just as light. So it's really a good thing to do. And again, we're just gonna keep with our process, wipe and wipe. Okay guys, so I finished the handles and I finished the Shet Matisse. So now I'm trying to get the piping and the side. So this was like, I kind of tried to figure this out and then I ended up going on ahead and pulling this off because I found that the piping kind of rolls under a little bit and it's really going to be hard to do. So I think I'm just going to stick my hand in here and then kind of push it out. I don't know if you can see that. Push it out so that I can spray it. And then what I'm gonna have to do is at the very end, I'm gonna wipe around the edges with a water wipe like I talked about earlier. Again, I'm not really as worried about the piping here, but I wanted to try it because I had heard some people had been able to do it. So this is how I figured out I think is gonna work. And since the handle's already treated, it's not gonna hurt it if it gets a little extra, so. And since I probably got a little bit on the zipper, I'm gonna go on ahead and take my wipe and make sure that the zipper is good. All right, and then we're gonna wait 30 minutes and treat again. Okay, y'all, so on the second time around, I was a little bit less careful about this. So, because I knew this time I'm gonna take all this off. So I'm just gonna go on ahead and take all this off so I can see where it got on the canvas and I can wipe it off pretty quickly here. See if we've got anything that looks just a little bit. So far, everything came out really well. All of it looks absolutely perfect, and I feel so much more comfortable now carrying this bag, knowing that all of this is protected. So I'm gonna go ahead and take all the tape off the hardware, and then I'll come back and show you guys all the finished pieces. Okay, you guys, so everything is sprayed, everything is done. I did a little bit of cleanup. I really didn't find hardly any shiny spots from the Apple Garde. So I think covering the canvas is still the way to go, but it definitely is a process. So if you're gonna invest in this bag and you're somebody like me who's really bad with white bags, I highly recommend going on ahead and doing what I did. This one came out perfectly as well, but basically I think it still looks perfect and there's no funkiness on the canvas. And the top also looks great. This one, super easy to do, just a little bit of time. So for these, where I had to wrap the hardware, you want to be careful because the leather here is really sensitive. And so if you use tape on it like I did, you want to peel it off very carefully because otherwise you can damage the vachette in between where the hardware goes in. And then other than that, I think that's it. Again, I highly recommend the water wipes for just cleaning in general. These were recommended by, I think it was Shea Whitney. So really good option. And then of course, Apple Garde, I got this off Amazon and it is safe for vachette and you can use it on your suede shoes. You can basically use it like Scotch Guard. However, because it's a little bit pricier than Scotch Guard, I only use it on my Louis Vuitton vachette leather. And then I just buy Scotch Guard for my shoes and other things like that. That's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it helped you figure out how you can treat your bags, especially your harder pieces. Ooh, and one more thing I almost forgot. When you're taking the tape off of the hardware, you may get a little bit of stickiness. Again, water wipes all the way. So that's all, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, everyone.